In August 2026, U.S. Representative Riley Moore stepped to a podium and directed a highly public accusation at New Delhi, characterizing a new internal Indian law as a direct attack on Christians. Diplomatic friction between these two nations usually involves defense contracts or trade tariffs. This dispute is entirely about the regulation of local charities, churches, and community NGOs. Since 1976, India has tightly controlled how foreign money enters its borders. Through the Foreign Contribution Regulation Act, or Fcra, the government dictates exactly which civil organizations may legally accept overseas donations. This chart illustrates a massive crackdown. Against 14,400 active Fcra certificates today, 37,700 have been canceled. But look at the footprint left behind. The law never specifies who assumes ownership of private land, hospitals, and equipment purchased with foreign cash once permission is revoked. That oversight stranded billions of dollars of private property in a legal gray area. Parliament's sudden move to decide who inherits that real estate is the exact catalyst for this diplomatic rupture. To finally answer the property question, lawmakers introduced the Fcra Amendment Bill of 2026. This document outlines the creation of the designated authority. The moment an NGO's registration lapses, its foreign-funded assets automatically become state property. Notice the specific clause. The initial transfer is entirely administrative. The government doesn't need a court order to assume control. By moving the appeals process to after the property has already changed hands, the law removes the judiciary from the initial action. A state administrator, not a judge, makes the unilateral call to take over private civil infrastructure. Alongside the bill, the Home Ministry quietly introduced revised administrative rules in June. They explicitly prohibit any organization engaged in proselytization, actively seeking religious conversions, from holding an Fcra license at all. The Indian government insists this is merely a matter of closing a legal loophole. Officials argue the regulations are neutral, applying the exact same financial oversight to every faith-based group operating in the country. State governments strongly disagree. In places like Kerala, local lawmakers publicly rejected the bill, arguing it hands the executive branch unchecked power over community resources. Legal analysts point to the demographics of the enforcement. Minority rights and free expression groups are heavily overrepresented among those 37,000 defunct organizations, raising concerns that the burden of this new law will fall with extreme bias. For critics, this amendment operates less like a financial regulation and more like an administrative weapon meant to permanently dismantle specific corners of civil society. That same anxiety has crossed the Pacific. Washington politicians look at the proselytization ban alongside the immediate, warrantless asset seizures and interpret them as a mechanism built specifically to target and absorb Christian institutions. This concern extends well beyond the political fringe. Secretary of State Marco Rubio has elevated this issue into a core diplomatic priority. Rubio has a highly publicized history of scrutinizing the conditions for minority faiths. On a previous diplomatic trip to India, he made the Missionaries of Charity headquarters in Calcutta his very first stop. To understand why Washington is pressing so hard, look at the financial volume shown in this breakdown. Between 2019 and 2022 alone, roughly 13,500 organizations received close to $6.7 billion in foreign contributions. A vast portion of that capital originated from Western donors. Deciding who inherits the schools, clinics, and bank accounts built by that money has escalated from a domestic legal dispute into a permanent wedge in international relations. Parliament is now weighing a difficult choice. Passing the bill asserts India's sovereign right to monitor its internal civil society, but finalizing the law in its current form guarantees an official confrontation with the U.S. State Department.